Hey guys, this is a follow-up to the last video that I just made on, I'll probably upload them around the same time, but on replacing your drum brakes, shoes, and all the hardware and such like that. So this is it all back assembled. Just had the new drum on. Few things that I can't remember if I noted in the other video, so I wanted to make sure I said. You can see that purple parts or brake parts lube that's on the other side of the new shoe here. Basically anywhere that, you can see it there too, anywhere that the brake shoe is coming in contact with the backing plate here, there was a few flat surfaces where it's very clear, but really just I slopped on a decent amount and just spread it out thin. Because I don't want squeals. I want to put this back together and not have to worry about it again. So that's the first thing. Make sure you are just watching for anywhere there's metal on metal. Second thing, on this side specifically, I'm not entirely sure this was the culprit, but just to make sure, I'm going to be, better safe than sorry. Because with all the salt on the roads, we get a ton of rust up here in the Midwest. And so on the other side, got the drum off no problem. On this side, it took me forever to get it off, and I'm not entirely sure if that's rust or just because the old shoes were compressed against it. So on the other side and on this side, just along the hub, on this side I put way too much, but just put some anti-seize, and I just put some along here as well, of the hub. Guess it's not as important there, but it'll get caked on with rust, and I don't always want to hit it with a hammer. So make sure you use some anti-seize. Try not to do what I did. Don't get it in the threads of the lug, where the lug nuts are going to go here, because you want those to be tight. You don't want those to be able to easily, rattle off when you're on the road. So I'm going to try to wipe that off. I don't use thread lock or anything on lug nuts, but just you don't want anything that's going to possibly help them to rattle loose. Then the last thing, just more of a comment. In the video I watched, another video of a guy doing the same car. He, I think it was 1A Auto or something like that. He seemed to do it no problem, and he seemed to put like this spring here back in the shoe on the left first before he, got this metal piece and the second piece of the adjuster in there and all of that in. It's such a tight space, and it was so hard for me. These are the only tools I used. A flathead, a small, short flathead. A little pick like this was super helpful actually to pull pieces back. And then a small pry bar. But honestly guys, I think everyone's gonna do it a little bit different. But on this side, I ended up putting this spring in first. And then I looped my finger in here, just behind this new shoe, and just pulled as hard as I could, because this spring is super strong. It's not gonna break. It's not gonna get stretched out or anything. So I just pulled as much as I could, and also just put a pry bar in here and just gently wedged. As I snaked the second piece of this adjuster here, because it comes apart right there where you see more purple, like right there. It comes out apart into two pieces. So the one part was already in there, the main part of the adjuster. This piece, you had to like somehow sneak in with your fingers. It's just super tight, easy to drop. And so I wanted to let you guys know, if it's not working, I don't know, try it as many different ways as you can. That's the best advice I got for you, because that's the way I did it. I apologize. I was so frustrated I couldn't film it. But that's basically what I did. Yeah, and then this metal clip here, or piece, that it is basically just held on by this metal piece here, is not very, there's nothing else holding it on. So it's almost like you have to hold it on your finger while you're trying to snake it in. And then, the last piece, putting this spring back on, was super simple. It's just about getting that one piece in there. And then I found this out the hard way too. You can see the prongs there of the adjuster right below the spring there. Make sure that when you put the adjuster back in, I might find this out the hard way if I did this incorrectly. so I guess take this with a grain of salt. I almost completely backed off the adjuster because when I first got this drum off, it was very far out, and I honestly think these shoes were pressed so hard up against the old drum that I couldn't get it off. And then when I went to put the new drum on, I had the same problem. I couldn't get it on because these were way too far out. So I backed off the adjuster, and I'm going to trust that it's going to do its job when I put it back together and I actually start pumping the brakes and I do a light, cruise around the neighborhood, pump the brakes. I think it's going to do its job, and it's going to self-adjust for me. So that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, and then if you guys are using a pick like this, and what I did was I would wrap it around here and I would just pull, because it takes a lot of effort to get this this part of the spring into its groove there. Just be careful. I don't know. Just be careful. If you guys have any questions or you want any advice, feel free to drop it down below. I apologize for rambling again, but that's my 2 cents on the rest of this video.